time it is. Time to get that party started all up in your ear holes. Here we go. When you had a bad day and you want those bad vibes to go away.
When every day life gets harder. Darren.
Carter.
You need the party starter.
It's the Pocket Party Podcast.
With the Ron.
Pocket Party Podcast.
In your ear holes.
Pocket Party Podcast.
It's in your ear holes.
Pocket Party Podcast. Or if your day needed a booster, then you need to talk to Red Rooster. Mr. Carter about to take you to school. Here we go. Don't hurt nobody and don't hurt yourself.
Is that a party in your pocket?
This is Morgan Freeman, and you are listening to one of the most important podcasts ever made in the history of podcasting, the Pocket Party Podcast with my good friend, Darren Carter.
Pocket Party.
And we're back. Part 2 with Mike Black on the Pocket Party Podcast. Guys, if you like this podcast, you like what we do, go to YouTube, hit that thanks button and a thumbs up. There he is. Is this Mike Black?
It is. Please hit the thanks button
That's right. Hey,
immediately.
dude, I got to tell you.
We take the donations that jingle, but we prefer the kind that fold.
Ooh, I like that.
That's what they would say that at church back when I went to church.
We take the donations that jingle, but we prefer the kind that fold.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I hate to bring this up right after you said church, but I know stripper DJs have their little sayings too that are pretty catchy. They're like,
Yeah.
if you like the scenery, let's see some greenery. Put
a good one.
Put a stripper on your zipper.
Yeah, and I'll tell you for certain they do not accept change.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, you're like, for certain, 100% certain they do not accept change.
I don't want to say how much research it took to get to that conclusion, but I'll tell you that is a fact.
Yeah. I knew a comic that took donations. He lived in Ohio and he would just do the Midwest. And I go, you don't sell anything? He's like, nah, I just take donations. And I tell the audience, don't be throwing quarters at me. I ain't the wishing well at the mall.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. Hey, so on the podcast and with technology, comics, we have to make that change. Like Michael Jackson said, make that change. But he preferred.
I don't know if that's what he was intending with that, but yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of change, we prefer the folded kind. Make that folded kind. Okay, but my point is, and I wanted to talk to you about this. That article I read about how comedy is changing, entertainment is changing, and even with our podcast, like comedians doing a podcast, even with this podcast, it's like I have to figure out.
I think you should put up as a bonus thing for your Patreon or whatever. Just us trying to figure out the camera angles beforehand.
I know. That's another thing I got to start as a Patreon. I haven't even done that yet. I'm like, right now it's
on all that sort of stuff. It's like you talk to other comedians and they're like, "You don't have a Patreon," and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know."
I didn't know, man. I'm sorry. Well,
you feel like everyone else is way ahead of you on all of it, but there's so much stuff out there. You're not on Bumblebee-Doo? What's Bumblebee-Doo? I'm the mayor of Bumblebee-Doo.
I've got so many badges and honors. You're like, what is that? Like,
I have 50 million followers. Everyone's on Bumblebee-Doo.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Even with this podcast, like I've done it live, I've done it, in person, and green rooms at various comedy clubs. I've, in my car, like I'll have a, like Fraser Smith or somebody.
All the exciting places.
All the exciting places. I'm like, hey, let's sit in the car. It's nice and quiet there. And and then even with this podcast, like this is going to be part 2. Like I was like, let's do it on camera. We haven't really done it on camera. And but then now Zoom. Apparently they limit you to $40 or 40 minutes unless you upgrade, and I'm like upgrade. I just how long? It's just a one-on-one. I'm paying 10
Every
G's
time
a month.
every time I hear Upgrade, I think of the pimp from Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Where they're explaining who he is, and they go, his name is Upgrade, but it's spelled with 2 D's for a double dose of pimping.
That's hilarious. It's like, yeah, so...
But yeah, they want you to pay for a double dose of pimping.
A double dose, baby. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, I mean, I know there's like the in-person part, but I figure at the end of the day, it's 2 guys having a conversation. And I know some people do like to watch the visual, like, well, what are they holding up? Like on part 1, when I held up the enamel pin, and here's the pillow I won, and this, and it is cool, but I got to be honest.
It opens it up. If not that you're not, but if you were a bit more tech savvy and you wanted to show, like, if we reference something and you wanted to show a video of it, you could do that. But also, I kind of feel like, couldn't people just Google that while they're listening?
Yeah, couldn't they just Google, like, when does the LA County Fair start or whatever?
Do it at their own leisure,
Yeah, so it's...
But like earlier today, I was thinking about, partially because of Mother's Day, the monologue that Stallone gives in Rocky Balboa. Are you familiar with that?
No, tell me. I love Rocky Balboa. The
movie is like, it was, I believe, the 6th Rocky movie, but it's titled Rocky Balboa.
Right.
And it's like him coming out of retirement at like 50 or something like that. And so there's a scene in there where his son, who's played by a very good actor from Lost, who really does like have a lot of his look, like it's very easy to believe that they would be related. But the son is like, I don't think you should do this. It's dangerous. And then he like asks the kid a few questions about it. And you see that what the kid's really concerned about is that it's going to embarrass him.
Mm.
And he's like, he goes, well, I don't want to embarrass you. And the kid goes, do you know what it's like, how difficult it is?
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's one of my favorite monologues. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he launches into this amazing, beautifully. Everyone forgets that Stallone is like an Academy Award winning writer, not just director and actor.
I would like to perform it for you. When you just tell me when to do it, I'm going to do. I got this. I got the transcript right here, and I'll do my Rocky impression. I love this. This.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead and go for it.
All right, you set me up. You do the son. Say, I don't know what the line is before that, but just say something like he would say, and I'll tell you what Rocky says.
You don't know what it's like having to live in your shadow.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody's gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you don't know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take your hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always going to love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son. You're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't going to have a life.
End scene.
What's great is that's actually not where it ends. The last thing he says to him,
sorry, that's where the Google ended it. But okay,
right? That's the monologue that's popular in the media and everything. But the last thing he says to him before he goes like back into his restaurant, to keep doing what he's doing, he says, "Make sure and visit your mother."
Oh yes,
because she's in the graveyard.
Yes,
basically.
That's right.
But it's such a haunting.
Oh yeah,
and the kid, like, you can tell it really. The acting between the two of them is outstanding.
It's incredible, and the music. And if I remember correctly, the streets are wet, like it had just rained, and it just beautifully shot. And it's like,
and you performed it really very closely to him because I listened to it this morning. It was
thank you.
It's very close. Like you hit the same like.
And then life ain't all about sunshine and rainbows. And then you. Yeah.
But like, there's a part before it too, before like the Google part, where he talks about like, I used to be able to hold you in one hand.
Oh yes.
And I was so excited about the person you were going to become, and you did. You became this amazing person.
It was an honor and a privilege.
Yeah, to raise you. And he's like, but somewhere along the way,
yes,
something changed, and you started letting other people tell you who you were and point their finger in your face and tell you could do this or you couldn't do that. And you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow.
Ooh.
And it was like, it's just so brilliantly written. And
I know, because that's how comedians can be like that, right? Like right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like the Rocky in general, every comedian, no matter how successful you are, should watch all the Rocky movies because they oddly, you wouldn't think it, but they apply so much to your life, especially if you're Jay London, who is a former boxer, but like the rest of us too,
Right. I remember hearing Chris Rock saying before he would get ready for a special, he watch Rocky, to kind of put him in that place of like, don't get all comfortable being at the nice gym. You got to get down where Mr. T's at, that Clubber Lang character, that kind of thing.
The Comedy Store.
Yeah. It's for real. It's like it is in danger of
becoming not that anymore, but at least late night in the original room, it still has that Clubber Lang vibe.
Yeah, and by the way, I was really feeling it a little bit with my Rocky monologue, and then I got caught in my head, and then I felt like it was transitioning to Elmer Fudd. But thanks for not pointing that out, because at first I was like, "Hey, life ain't all about sunshine and rainbows, right?" And then I went from that range to like, "All right, now go visit your mother." Wow. Yeah. It's like, come on, dude. Like
that takes a little something out of it.
Yeah, it kind of takes it out of it.
Elmer Fudd gave that exact same monologue to Yosemite Sam once.
Yeah. Wife ain't all about sunshine and rainbows. What? You rascal, you wabbit. Yeah.
He should. If Elmer Fudd gave that monologue to anybody, it should be Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Because that guy has taken some hits.
I know.
Keeps getting back up.
But it's funny though, with like how things are changing. I was during the quarantine. I remember reading this book about the history of comedy, and they talked about how entertainers would entertain in the late 1800s in these giant theaters and those old timey theaters, and then as time would move forward to the 20s, the same thing. Those big houses, they would perform in those giant. They're not called theaters, like these music houses, or they were theaters basically.
Music halls.
Music halls, yeah, exactly. And then vaudeville, and then once as time progressed, then you had like the invention of a microphone and speakers and a sound system. So then the comedians didn't have to be so big and broad and talk to the back of the room. They could get down and whisper with their punchlines.
Yeah, they get more intimate.
Yeah, and then of course, with jumbotrons, and then even like Steve Martin, I don't think they had that. I think he didn't use. I was talking to Dane Cook about that once, and he had told me that it was really hard for Steve Martin to do those giant stadiums in the 70s because they couldn't see his facial expressions. And then now it's like they have screens everywhere. And, but just how comedy has changed, and then the
back
comics,
then they made up for it with hallucinogenics. Just everyone in the audience so pumped up on drugs.
Exactly.
They didn't need to see his face. He had turned into an 80-foot dragon like 3 minutes into the show.
King Tut, exactly. Yeah. They just imagine that there's an arrow through his head, that.
Right.
Mm. But how comics with the 50s, and then they started doing broadcast radio, and they had their own radio shows, and that sort of reminded me of podcasting. I'm like, oh, we don't necessarily. Every comic can't get on the radio, but we can all get on a podcast, and the people that gravitate towards what we like to talk about, they can tune in and make their drives better and their exercise better. And if they sleep to this podcast, that's cool. Maybe we're the kind of podcast you sleep to or whatever, but we're like your friends in your pocket, so to speak. That's why I call it Pocket Party. And
Yeah.
But I think the entertainer has to be willing to move on with time and be like, okay, I'm going to do some of the social media stuff that maybe like if we weren't in entertainment, I don't know if I would be. I know I wouldn't be as active on this stuff as I am now, but I actually enjoy it, and I think that's part of it. If you can enjoy it, then it makes it like, oh, cool. Like I don't look at it like it's a burden. Like, oh, I look at it like, I guess because I did start like in 1989, 1990 back then. Like all we had to do was, back then, really, especially when you first start, I felt like was wait around until 8 o'clock and then hit the stage and then hope something big could happen. Someone could discover you, I mean, you could write jokes during the day. You could listen to your sets. But other than that, you really I didn't feel like there was a big way to get yourself out there. And now I'm like, it's cool, right? And then we know other funny people. So it's like, hey, let's be funny together on this medium and people can find it and find us and, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, in a way, it's like you really have no excuse to not get your stuff out there. It's just the levels of exposure. But now it's so much easier for audience to, if they like something, to share it with other people.
Absolutely.
This is not a hint directly to your audience to share this with as many people as possible, but they could if they wanted.
Thank you. Seriously, like, anytime they click that little share button and they share links and they share any of that stuff, it helps, And it's funny. I was at that Casey and the Sunshine Band. I was telling you on part one at the at the LA County Fair, and then there was a couple that afterwards they were probably in their 60s and they recognized me. One of the men recognized me from my comedy, and he was like, "Hey, they used to call you Rooster," and he starts naming different jokes and. I realized like that guy doesn't have any social media or anything to like share, but which is okay. But it was in a weird way. It was like, man, there's a reason the 20 or something comics and entertainers are really blowing up right now.
Yeah,
because their fans are like 13 to 26 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's part of the thing too. Is like as you get older, you get older fans. And they don't know what to do to share
right.
your stuff. Like you barely know how to get it to them, and they barely know how to get it to anyone else. They're like, I could play you this on. You can watch it on my phone. It's like, no, you just send it to them. That's going to be too difficult. I don't know how to do that.
I know. It's
like if anyone out there wants desperately to share this with someone, ask your grandkids or ask your kids or something like that. Someone knows how to unlock the magic spells that will let you share it with other people. But in the meantime, click on that the heart and click on the thank you and those things. That all of that helps.
Yeah, the heart, the thank you
helps a bunch.
Oh yeah, totally. It's and it's great to see if you can involve like for myself, like when we went to the fair, I like vlogging it because I'm like, oh, I want to share some of this experience. So this week I'll be editing, some of the stuff that I saw, you know what I mean? Like to kind of give people an idea that maybe they can't go to the LA County Fair and they're like, well, what is this thing all about? I want to see what did Darren do? Or when Mike goes to Comic-Con down in San Diego, they might, if you film it, they'll be like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I film a lot of that stuff, and then my phone gets hot, and I stop. Or it gets, the battery, drains real fast. So I film as much as I can, but I'm by no means a professional videographer or anything.
That's funny. I know exactly what you're saying. Like your phone gets hot. Like mine, I've learned to, and I don't know if I'm going to stick with this, but this time usually I film with my phone, but then the phone gets loaded. It keeps filling up and gets hot, like you said. So I'm like, oh, I'll bring a separate camera and a lavalier mic, and I'll make it like a production. And then I realized I left it zoomed in too much. And if you leave something zoomed in, then the image gets a little bit more wobbly and shaky. And I'm like, dang it, this is a learning curve.
Yeah,
By the way, if you want to show your support, every little bit helps, and I really mean that. PayPal, go to darrencarter.com. there's a support the show button at darrencarter.com. Support the show using PayPal. If you're more of a Venmo person, you like doing Venmo, it's very easy. At Darren Carter Comic. At Darren Carter Comic on Venmo. PayPal, go to darrencarter.com. Support the show. Every little bit counts. I'm telling you, it means a lot. It means the world. And it keeps this show going. It keeps me motivated, and it buys new equipment, and it just helps. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, you remember when we were a kid, it was a very popular saying to say, like, don't make a big production out of it.
Right.
Now you literally are making a big production out of everything that you do, you know.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's like you have to make a big production. But I figure the more I do it, like I've done anything, you just get better at it. And you're like, oh, this is how I do it. Da, da, da. It's like A, B, C, D, boom. Then it's like you don't even think about it, which is how I am on my phone now. Like when filming on my phone, I know exactly what part of the phone to go to, what apps to drop super quick so I can film something within like 20 seconds if I see something like, oh, I want to film that, and then film it. And then I know exactly, and I got to just practice. I got to practice that with the camera. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
yeah, like I've gotten so much better at editing. Like I had a clip from the show I did the night before Mother's Day where it was like, literally it turned into Mother's Day while I was on stage. And are you still there?
Yeah, I hit mute, so I figure if I hit mute, there'll be, because there was some background noise. So yeah,
okay,
but I'm still here. Yeah.
But yeah, and so on Mother's Day, I edited together like a quick little Mother's Day promo thing for Instagram, and like a year ago, that would have taken the entire day for me to figure out how to do that.
Oh yeah.
And now I was like, I've got 10 minutes in this parking lot. I'll do it right now, and it was ready to go. You know, so you do adapt to the different technology. It's just a lot of it is like anything else. It's getting out of your comfort zone and doing it that first time that really makes the difference. You know. Yeah,
and like I said, I look forward to it. Like last night, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to like sync the sound of the video and the audio and you know, because now that before that would have been like this homework that I had to do, and I'm like, I don't know how to do it. Now I know how to do it, and I can't wait to see how it turned out. And then also I learned from my mistakes. I'm like, oh wow, I zoomed in too much right here, and then like, it made it shaky. And then there's other parts where I'm like, oh, that looks good, and there was other parts where I'm like, oh man, why did I have the camera so far away from what I was trying to shoot?
And I feel like every time you do it, you learn something. Like, first I learned how to, like, add music to a thing. Now, like, on Reels, I learned how to, like, oh, I can add subtitles to this because that makes a big difference on how many views something gets. You know, it's like every time you're learning a bunch of stuff, whether you know it or not, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like to use InShot. That's one of the apps I use on my phone for editing, for adding is InShot. I use.
Do they give you some sort of kickback for plugging them?
No. I just like it because I have a. Yeah, I know. I like to use InShot, and you too. You can too. No, it's totally free. It's like a free app, and then
just click the link in my bio.
Exactly. I know. There's
InShot? You mean the world's leading software editing app?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
We just started like plugging everything.
Oh, can I read you some wacky news stories? And I want to get your take on it. So
okay.
Listen to this. A Russian security guard at an art museum could face criminal charges for vandalizing a painting on his first day of work. The unnamed guard is accused of drawing 2 sets of eyes on Anna something or the other, 3 figures, a 1932 to 1934 painting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
what a dick.
This dude, he said he was a bored security guard, so he drew eyes on $850,000 painting on his first day on the job. Yeah, that was.
Oh, man, they're gonna have to add to the background check now.
I know.
For future security guards, they'll just have a bunch of pictures that you desperately would want to mess with. and just leave them alone in the room for 8 hours. You
Yeah.
survived. You didn't draw a smile on the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. We'll put him in the dummy room. This is the room that we, if anything bad
Yeah.
happens, it ain't that big of a deal. Dude, I remember I was a security guard when I first started.
Yeah, it's all just a bunch of coloring book art.
Exactly. Yeah. When I first, moved to a bigger city to be a comedian, it was the Bay Area, and I had a roommate. He was also a comedian, and he was hiring. He was a security guard because he went to the police academy, so he shot right up to the top of the security guard food chain. And he goes, "I can get you a job as a security guard." I'm like, "But I'm not that kind of guy." And he goes, "No, I thought it was like you got to be a tough bouncer, badass." He's like, "No,
Yeah.
dude, you're just going to be guarding empty parking lots and like warehouses on the weekend, and tech."
I don't even know karate.
I know, and I don't even know crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and that's what I ended up doing. I ended up working in a warehouse, just kind of chilling, sitting there. Like on the Saturday, nobody's there, getting really drowsy. I remember I would work at these different tech companies that are up there, like Apple or whatever. It might have been Apple. I didn't even know what it was back then. I had no interest in. I even have a computer. This is like 1990. So. But they told me I was supposed to check everybody, their bags and purses and backpacks for computer chips, which is hilarious because they never even showed me what a computer chip looked like. So I had no idea what I was even looking for.
Wait, you don't know what a computer chip?
Not in 1990, I didn't. So it was like I literally.
That's still you have very little excuse to not know what a computer chip looked like, even in 1990.
I know. I thought I would have an idea of what it would look like. So I was just looking for that. Like, I think
what I would love to know what you thought a computer chip looked like.
I think
in 1990.
I think it looked like I was looking for something like maybe green. Like have you ever taken apart your your little portable?
It's that green thing in the computer.
Your football video game from the 80s, and then when you would unscrew it and take it apart, like that green board with all the wires and stuff. That's what I was looking for.
Wow. You were so off base.
I know. I should probably look it up now. What does a computer chip look like? Is it like the size of like a penny or something?
You're just stopping anyone who's eating like potato chips.
I know.
Let me check these.
Yeah, exactly. Sun-made chips. Those look different. What's that?
Yeah.
Why are those all wrinkly and crinkly?
Wait, you still don't know what a computer
I still
chip
don't
looks
know what a
like?
computer chip. I have an idea. I'm gonna Google it and see if it's my ideas. I'm picturing like a little battery. Computer.
It is not a battery
chip.
at all.
Let me see what it looks like. It looks like a lot of them come from. Oh, that was a map.
Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what it looks like. Oh, you can buy one for like $58.
Yeah, this shouldn't be news to you.
Dude, I've never bought a computer chip. Have you ever
What
bought
do
a
you
computer
think-
chip? Hey, it kind of looks like what I pictured.
Thousands of times without knowing it, you're buying computer chips.
Yeah, it was just surrounded by clothes. No, it was surrounded by.
Yeah, or any number of things. Like your phone is.
Oh yeah, that's what it looks
It
like.
has-
It looks like those like a little thumb
SIM
drive or
cards.
like a SIM card.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
guess I-
basically. It's very close to what it is.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh yeah, I was thinking circuit board.
Yes, which is computer chips go on those. So you were half right.
What was that video game I was? Oh yeah, see, I was thinking like the Nintendo game. Or those classic electronic football handheld games. Because I remember taking those apart. Those Mattel
the
classics.
Tiger Electronics.
Yep, all that stuff, vintage, all that stuff. I was looking like I remember taking those apart, going like, "Oh, computer chips. That's what I'm looking for."
You know, they have a lot of those again. A lot of those old Tiger Electronics games. They've reissued them. So if you ever feel nostalgic and want to play them, you can.
I know. I love those old games. Those were super fun. For me, the video games pretty much started and stopped with like Atari, like that whole genre, like that era, like 1982, 83, 80, right around there. Because even when I'd go to my little cousin's house, he was more into like the Mario Brothers and all that. I kind of was like, it's just you're just jumping around, swinging on ropes.
Now they have. This is how much the technology has moved forward. You can get a keychain that is about 2.5 inches tall that looks like the old arcade cabinets of a game.
Oh.
Like Pac-Man or Tetris or Pong or any of those,
Yeah.
Frogger. and it'll have like a tiny little joystick and tiny little buttons on it, and it has the full game on there.
Wow.
And you can literally play the game on a tiny little keychain screen.
Wow. I remember for a while, I would find Google, I'd go to Google and type in Pac-Man, and it would be like, here's Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's how Google works.
You could still do that? It wasn't just like
you type in anything, and it goes, here's that thing.
But I was able to play Pac-Man. Let me see. Pac-Man video
Oh,
games.
I see what you're saying. I was like,
oh, look, I can play it right now if I wanted to. Wow.
This is probably not the time.
That's true.
But you're going to...
Oh, I'm not playing. You hear it in the background. You're like, oh, no, I'm not playing at all, Mike. I'm totally listening to everything you're saying. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting point you just made.
That was me beatboxing over here. No, that was like... Yeah, I remember I would get busted as a kid. I used to love listening to late night radio, and my mom would be like, "You got to go to school. You got to, make sure you get enough sleep for school." But I'd have the radio right by my pillow, turned down really low, and I'd fall asleep. And guess what? Sometimes I'd get busted because they go in to check, see if you're asleep, and there's this radio. It's like, dude, what are you doing? But
yeah, I would not want you on like any sort of crime team. You just seem like you would get caught, like, very quickly.
I know. I remember when I was at security guard, I fell asleep once. Yeah, I fell asleep. It was doing comedy at night in San Francisco. We drive back down. You have 3 hours of sleep. I'd have to be there on the job at 6 a.m., not checking for computer chips, which I had no idea what they were. And I remember it was around 9 a.m. I had my sunglasses on, and I had my head back, and I was like snoring. And
you're the reason we have Russian hackers.
Exactly.
It's like they have a very sleepy guard. We go when he.
I know. I was telling him I was just thinking because
he doesn't even know what computer chips are. It just takes them.
I don't think I was actually snoring. I think I had my sunglasses because she goes. I just woke up to someone going, "Excuse me." Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, and it got louder and louder. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I was just thinking."
Yeah.
And she was like, and then I got fired. But guess what? They had such a shortage. They had such a shortage of security guards. They hired me back like the next day or whatever. And I just had to promise I would never sleep again.
Hire back sleepy and dopey.
Exactly.
We need both of them.
Yeah. That was a fun. Yeah.
What about Doc? No, just sleepy and dopey and sneezy. Hire him too.
That was fun. Did you ever work? You never worked as a security guard, I don't think.
No, I worked at Dave & Buster's where they kind of had you do a little bit of everything. Like, we had a whole security team that was, like, super, super aggressive. So it was kind of, there wasn't a lot to do there. So whenever there was, they would get real amped and they'd want to, like, break someone's arm. Throw them out of the building.
Yeah.
They never did, but they would they just had that kind of like real hardcore sort of vibe that was very unnecessary for an arcade.
Yeah. Yeah, an arcade especially. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like no one here is starting the kind of crap that you guys are worried about. They toned down considerably. That was like their first year. By the end of the year, they had like one off-duty cop that was like pretty much handling most of it,
Yeah.
And he was very chill, but so we kind of would, like, anyone who worked like in the arcade or in the prize area or whatever, we kind of knew, and one of our managers pretty much said, look, try and self-police as much as you can before you call these security guards. They're going to get us in a lawsuit or something.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the most part, we just, like, if anyone was really going crazy, we'd go, ease up, buddy, calm down, we'll get you an extra power card or something, just relax,
I know. Oh, I remember those power cards. And then you save them, you bring them home, and then you forget where they are, so the next time you have to buy another one, then you're like, oh, I've got like a whole coffee can here full of, or shoebox full of power cards.
Yeah, that was the entire business model that they had at Dave & Buster's for a while. They knew you were going to lose them, and so you'd have to buy a new one But if you kept it, if you just put it in your wallet like a normal human being and brought it with you, you only had to buy that first one ever, and you could just keep recharging it with money, you know.
You know, I bought a pizza the other day, and I don't know what this made me think of it. When I bought a pizza, and I asked the employee when I said, "Hey, do you guys have any discounts or any kind of coupons or anything?" And I was telling the truth. I go, "I have some at home. I don't know if it would help or not." But and the guy goes, "Oh, let me see what I can do." And just by the fact that I was polite and I asked him, he goes, "Yeah, I just saved you $10." And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that's any pizza place. If you're there, if you're on site, just go, "Do you guys have any carryout specials today?" And they usually have a pretty good one of some kind or another.
Oh, that's nice. Carryout
Like,
specials.
Almost any pizza place has carryout specials that, you know, you're at least saving the cost of delivery, but they also, like, they're trying to encourage more business. So you may get, like, at Pizza Hut, they may be like, "Oh, we'll give you pizza and wings for $11 or something." And it's like, that's kind of like groceries for a couple days, you know?
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to use that
really
phrase,
not
carryout
bad.
specials, because it sounds polite. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. It sounds like you're... Yeah.
Well, like Little Caesars is all carry out. That's why they're so cheap, like compared to the other ones. But like if you go to Little Caesars, the move that I always do is get the extra most bestest pizza. That's literally what it's called. It's a pepperoni pizza that has like a little extra pepperoni on it.
What's the pizza called?
The extra most bestest.
Oh, extra most bestest. Because for a second there, it sounded like you said asbestos, like an asbestos.
No.
I was like, wow.
But like, what's cool about it is their regular pepperoni pizza is $5, a large pepperoni pizza. This one is $7. So
dang.
You're really not breaking the bank no matter what. But what I'll do is I'll get that and I'll go, give me an order of crazy sauce. Not crazy bread and crazy sauce, just crazy sauce. And then you can dip the pizza in it, and it's tremendous. or just dip the crusts in it. It's like you've got your own breadsticks.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I bought a pizza, and it wasn't that good, so I don't think I'm going to go there for a while. I tried something. See, listen, I
at Little Caesars?
No, this place called... does it matter what they're called? Fresh Brothers. I'll just screw it. I just said it. I put them on blast.
Like those guys.
Oh, you know those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never dug their pizza. I just don't like it. You don't have to like everything. You know, and their pizza is one of those things. I don't like them, and I don't like Five Guys burgers. I tried them, and I'm like, it's passable. It's the bare minimum, you know.
Yeah, I felt like this was like the Sunday crew, and they didn't have like the top people making the pizza because it wasn't that good. And like I got it like a couple of months ago, and it was so delicious. I was like, I got to get that again. It feels like it's delicious and healthy. And this time was not that good. It was I'm not going to say gross, but it wasn't good. But I'll tell you what it was. It was cauliflower crust.
Okay.
It's called the Fresh Mama's Favorite. It says it's made with pizza sauce, basil, pesto blend, fresh spinach, mushrooms, and garlic. But it wasn't that good, dude. It wasn't that good.
I can't imagine why that was delicious.
I know. But last time it was good. It was a lot more, I don't know, like fresh.
Yeah, you're part of the problem.
Part of the problem.
You're exactly what's wrong with the world right now. There's a lot of crap out there that's just trying to be what it's not.
Yeah.
You know, let pizza be pizza. If you want a salad, go get a salad. But don't try and turn a pizza into a salad.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's not a fucking salad.
I'm complaining about my cauliflower crust, mushroom,
spinach,
garlic.
I don't know what you were expecting to happen. But whatever it is, it's not pizza.
I know. You know? For whatever reason, like two months ago, it was really good. But I don't know. Yeah, this time it was just not good.
You were probably all excited that you were doing a healthy thing.
You're right.
You convinced your mind, no, I really am enjoying this.
Yeah, this time it was a lot drier, and there's nothing worse than
bastardization of pizza.
Yeah, maybe they were like, maybe last time they slipped in a lot of butter and oil and made it delicious, because this time it was like, not good.
It's like, you don't go to Arby's and go like, I want the big beef and cheddar, but instead of beef, replace it with mushroom caps, and instead of cheddar, I want carrot slices.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, I didn't really like that sandwich. Well, yeah, because it sucks.
I've got a pull-up contest coming up at the local fair, and I need to drop 5 pounds.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not against eating healthy, but eat healthy at a place that makes healthy food.
Yeah, don't go to a donut place and get like the whole wheat donut that's like...
Right, don't try and turn McDonald's into Soup Plantation, because it's never going to be that.
I know.
You know?
Here's one for you. Here's another news story. 2 Krispy Kreme employees in South Carolina assaulted over donut selection. And
they were assaulted, or they assaulted someone?
Let's read about it. I think they were, I don't know. And a police report, an argument began in the drive-thru lane between an employee and 2 customers who were ordering donuts. According to WYFF-TV, the man and the woman in the vehicle wanted donuts that Krispy Kreme did not have available.
Right.
As words were exchanged between the worker and customer, the worker and a man in the vehicle agreed to fight, the television station reported.
I love that they agreed to fight.
Fellow workers intervened when the pair tried forcing their way behind the front counter to reach the drive-thru worker. It says, one employee was shoved to the ground and hit his head, according to the newspaper. Another employee who intervened had bruising on the right side of her chin, left eye, and complained of knee pain after being shoved from behind. Both were evaluated by medical personnel before being transported to an area hospital. The employee who was working at the drive-thru window was not injured, and the customers left before officers arrived on the scene. In the police report, the drive-thru employee told investigators that the customer asked, "Why do you have such an attitude about it?" And the worker replied, "Order donuts we have, or don't order at all." Police identified the male customer as Christopher McCoy. The woman has not been identified. And that is the end of that story.
That, I get it on both ends.
Yeah.
Like, when it's like you took the job of working at the donut place.
Yeah.
People are going to order whatever is on the menu.
I know.
Whether you have it or not. And but I get on the other end, it's like, yeah, we're out of that. We're just out of it, and I can't magically go make it happen because we just don't have it. Or maybe we don't want to make it. Maybe you ordered a thing that we made 100 of, and we're tired, and we don't want to make it anymore. And,
no.
You're just going to have to live with it. What sucks is it's the same on both sides, where you would tell them it's just donuts.
It's like, dude, it's just donuts, man.
This is nothing to fight over on either side. Just and like the thing to do would be like, hey, we don't have that. Here's a coupon for next time, or hey, I'll hook you up with a free glazed donut. But that's, again, it's like if they're being nice, like you were when you asked that guy if they had any discounts. But I have a feeling these people weren't nice from the jump.
Oh yeah, exactly. If you're agreeing to fight customers or employees something's wrong with you. You know what I mean?
First of all, if you order something at any place and they say we're out of that, I'm sorry, the discussion is over as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Move on with your life.
Exactly.
And either pick something else or go somewhere else.
Yeah, and if it makes you that angry with those people, don't ever go back to that location until they no longer work there.
Right, and maybe see about getting some therapy. Because if you're willing to fight someone over a donut, you might have deeper issues.
I saw a lady when I was at the fair last weekend. She was getting kind of a little bit angry, a little bit rude, a little bit, borderline, like very curt with the employee.
Getting kind of Karen-y.
Yeah. She was, we were in line for hot dogs, and I was actually getting a burger, but I wanted, after you pay for the burger, you have to go over to the grill and have them put the patty on, all the condiments, etc. Like the lettuce, tomato. And she was really insistent that the onions that the gentleman was about to hand her with the little spatula, that they weren't grilled enough. She's like, nope, I want grilled. And she snatched back her hot dog, and she's like, no, not yet. She's like, I want grilled. And the guy he looked like he was like 16 or 17, and he went into the pile again, and she's like, nope. And then the manager or whatever he is at the fair, he came over. He's a little older. He's in his 20s. He's like, hi, ma'am, can I help you? And she's like, I want grilled onions. And then he grabbed the tongs and he started to reach in at this one other area. And she goes, exactly. And so then he pinched the onions, put them on her. And she's like, thank you. And she's like, and you might want to tell him he needs to get some thongs. She meant to say tongs, but she called them thongs. And I was like, oh boy,
Yeah.
And her boyfriend or whatever kind of had that apology, like that look of apology, like to the people in line. He's kind of like, I put up with this all day. It's just another day in my world, that kind of thing.
I don't know. It depends. It's like on some things you want it the way you want it. Like, like a steak. If you're paying $20 for a steak,
yeah,
or God forbid more at like a Ruth Chris or somewhere like that, where it's like $50 to $100 a steak, you want it the way you want it, not the way they feel like you should. Like I have a thing I really like. It's not that I like, but I almost have to have a well done steak. And half the places out there, you order a well done steak, and the people you're sitting with want to tell you how it's ruining it.
Right.
The chef wants to tell you that. The waiter wants to tell you that. And it's like sometimes some people have certain digestive issues where they have to have it that way.
Yeah, they don't want this bloody thing that's...
Or they have like texture things or what have you. There's all sorts of reasons someone's ordering a well-done steak. The only people that give you crap about it are... or the reverse of that. The only people that really get crap about their steak order are people that order well done. And it's because everyone has seen these chef shows that are about like, oh, it's a sin to do that, and so everyone thinks like they're sharing some new information on that shit.
Yep.
And so half the time, like I actually stopped a waiter once, and I got kind of shitty, and I said, I just ordered a steak from you. I don't want you to teach me a lesson. Just tell the chef what I want, and then I'll pay for it. And it's like, I hate having to be that way, but it's like on the 100th time you get that from someone, you're over it. But you also have to take into account that as a waiter, he's had to deal with 100 people, and he has to hear it from the chef too, Right.
Like, what I like, and I know people look down on it, is I love when I have chicken fried rice from a Chinese restaurant. I love it when there's ketchup, and I like to put ketchup on it. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you doing putting ketchup on it? But it tastes good to me.
Wait, on which thing?
Chicken fried rice, like some cold ketchup on the hot chicken fried rice. I think it's delicious.
Right. So it's like prison food, basically.
Exactly.
that you're making, But yeah, and it's like people have their weird little picadillos with, food and stuff like that, there's a point where it's like, it really doesn't matter how you would like it because you're not the one eating it.
Right.
So
it was interesting seeing that lady and then when everyone's waiting to, in line, because you go from the grilled, that area, then you step about 10 steps away, and then that's where you put your ketchup, your mustard, your mayo on. And she was taking forever, and I'm like, dang, And then there was another guy that was he sort of cut in line in between this, but I was like, whatever. And then he did it pretty fast. And then I noticed that lady kept cutting in between me and him and not really saying excuse me or anything. But I was just like, let it go. That's just her as a person. She's just like, and then I went up there and I was just one pump each, like ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, and I was just done. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, that's how you do it.
This was a hot dog?
It was a hamburger, but I was just like...
Hamburger. Can I ask this? How much was the hamburger? How much did that send you?
It was a lot because we got... I want to say, because my wife... I secured a table because there wasn't very many tables. So I got us a table, And I want to say with one corn, it was a lot. It was too much money. One cheeseburger and one corn dog, the giant corn dog and a giant cheeseburger. It was, I want to say $32.
Yeah, if I'm paying anywhere close to $32, I might take a little time at the condiment area too.
Exactly.
And make sure that I'm getting what I want.
You know what, dude? Even though right now it sounds like I was being judgy, I still was like that. Walk a mile in someone's shoes. I still had that attitude. So I when I went back to the table, I had about 3 or 4 bites of my food because I was getting kind of like, hungry and like hangry and angry and all that stuff that they call it. And so I waited till I had about 3 or 4 bites before I even told my wife what I just witnessed because I realized like
right,
you know what I mean? I'm probably a little bit more like, oh, just order already. Oh, what do you who cares about, And then maybe that lady was like that. Maybe she was like, hey, I just paid 30, who knows what she paid?
And she may for her that may be like a big treat for like that month. I'm going to she's probably looking forward to the fair, and it's like I can't wait to get that burger. And
it's been 2 years since 2020. They shut it down. And I want my exactly.
Yeah,
so.
And you get like a certain thing in your mind of like a way you want a thing, and it's like no, I'm doing this once a year. I'm going to get it done the way I want it done. I get that. I totally get that, especially at $30 a thing.
I know, dude. It was like, yeah. Oh, the ice cream was good though.
You can still be nice about it though. You can still go, look, the onions that I want are just point at it. They're over there. Those ones there are the ones that I want.
I know. That's what I would have done. That's what I do though. I think I may be rude in other ways, but I think when it comes to interaction with people, like that kind of thing, I always try to remember to say, please, thank you. Put myself in their shoes. Hey, it's okay. For the most part, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I generally try to conduct myself in that manner.
Yeah, I try and do that too. The other day I ate at a steak place where I always request like well done or extra well done. And they brought me one that was like really red in the middle. And to be fair, it was a thick steak. And I was like, I can't eat it this way. It'll give me a weird, I'll get hiccups.
Did you challenge them to a fight?
No, I did not. But they brought it back once, and it was still pink. And I was like, "Look, it's got to be gray all the way through, or I can't eat it." And the lady was like, "I'll just get you a new one." And for some reason, it worked out the second time. But and it's like, but I have to worry that when you send it back, they could spit in it or anything like that. So I had to really look at it closely and double check it. But it's like, but it's like I can't spend $20 and not get anything.
Right. I'm going to try that the next time I go to a steakhouse. I'm going to try your code. I'm going to say, do you have any carry-out specials on your lobster?
Yeah.
I'll be eating that in the car, but I'll come back in for my appetizers.
Who has, it's not even a special, it's just a good thing that you can do at a steakhouse is Red Lobster. Those biscuits that they have?
Oh, dude, what are those biscuits called?
Cheddar Bay biscuits. They're amazing.
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
You know how much it is for a half dozen of those?
No, I have no idea.
What would you pay for 6 of those?
6 Cheddar Bay biscuits. I would imagine it's going to be around $12, I think, somewhere in there.
It is, the last time I checked, $2
Whoa.
to get an order of those to go.
And that's one of their more popular items.
Yeah. It's included usually with most entrees. They'll give you like a basket of those, but if you want some to take home, it's worth asking about.
I saw that online you can buy the ingredients and make them yourself.
Why would you do that? They're $2.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're not going to be as good. Whatever you're making at home, I'm sure they'll be fine. But
yeah, they're not as. Yeah, it's like I remember one time.
Waste your time or theirs?
Yeah, it's like I'm going to get Hooters food to go, and then it's like something's missing. Yeah, the ambiance, the girls,
right. Everything that makes Hooters is what's missing.
Otherwise, it's like decent fried chicken in your 1-bedroom apartment. Like this is.
That kind of reminds me of I learned about that sort of thing when I was a kid. I worked in the school library, and there was a real I'm nerdy, but there was a kid who was like the wrong kind of nerd. Where me and the other girl that were working there were talking about Spaceballs and how funny it was. And he goes, "Are you discussing the film Spaceballs?" And we were like, "Yeah, it's really good. Have you seen it?" And he goes, "I read the novelization."
Oh, wow.
Okay. So we have nothing more to discuss.
Yeah.
Because it's just, there's no way that that's anywhere close to what the movie is like, you know.
That's funny. I don't know. One time we were talking about Rocky 3 actually, when I was in high school, and I had just taped it. But here's what I did: I didn't tape the VHS. I literally taped the audio. I just held up my tape recorder to the television. And I remember this girl was like, "Oh, you taped it? Can I borrow it?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." And so I handed her like 2 cassettes, side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. She's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, you wanted Rocky 3? Here it is." She's like, "Okay."
What are you talking about?
Exactly. Hey, so at the fair, the headliner was KC and the Sunshine Band, and man, I got to tell you,
we talked about this in the video
on
podcast.
part 1, the video podcast. And I got to ask you, first of all, it was a phenomenal show. That you could tell they had dance moves they'd choreographed. They rehearsed. Yeah. There was these pink boas that were hanging from the mic stand. So even before he came out, the lights hit it, and then they're flashing, like strobing around, and the band starts to walk out, and then they start playing, and the crowd's getting all hyped up, and then these beautiful showgirls come out to those mic stands. They start singing and start dancing, and then Casey comes out, and it's exciting, man. It is really exciting, and he hits you with a couple of great songs, and then he talks. And it was like watching a comedian. He's like, "I'm 72 years old," or 71, something like that. He's like, and because he's gained quite a bit of weight, and he goes, "What the?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "What the hell happened?" And everyone's laughing. They're like, "Yeah," it's just like so funny, right? Because it's like, and he goes, "Yeah, COVID." He goes, "By the way, I've lost, I want to say 30 pounds," and he said he's working with Marie Osmond with the plan that she's a pitch person for. I don't know what it is. I forget, but whatever she pitches.
I thought you said she's a bitch person for it.
No,
I was like, Jesus, Darren.
Yeah, it's
you're a real bitch person.
It might be Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. I'm sorry, I don't know, but whatever. Johnny Marie's, it's Marie Osmond, but yeah. So she's helping him lose weight, but and he was like, "Look at me," and he made it, but he did some self-deprecating jokes. He goes, "It's more like KFC in the Sunshine Band."
Ah, that's funny.
He said something like that, and the crowd's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "It was so lovable, man, when he's just talking like that." And he goes, and then COVID hit. He's like, and he reminded me of Frasier. He's like, he goes, "Yeah, they told me I had to go someplace and put something up my nose, and I hadn't put anything up my nose since the 80s." And the crowd's like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "You got to get a couple of shots," and I'm thinking tequila and alcohol. It wasn't any of that, and they're like, "Yeah." And he was so funny, man. He cracked a couple of more jokes, and he goes, "Let's take you back to a fun time, 1970s, da da da. Let's have," and he starts doing these songs. It was so good. And then he goes, "And by the way, if no one's told you today that they love you, I love you." And boom, it's just like off to the races. He starts hitting you with songs. I was going to ask you this, without Googling, just off the top of your head, how many Casey and the Sunshine Band songs do you think you could name?
That's the way I liked it.
Yep.
And we're done.
That's the way, I like it. That's the way. Okay, I got some more for you. Ready? Shake your booty, shake your booty, shake, 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 shake. Do you remember Shake Your Booty?
I do.
So there's Shake Your Booty, and then there's another one called Boogie Shoes. My boogie shoes.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am.
That's what I am.
I'm your boogeyman. And then what about this one? Give it up. Got to give it up. Give it up. Got to give it up.
I don't know that one.
Do you know this one? Dang it, I actually didn't write it down, but it's like a sad one that he has, like a slower song. It's I don't remember. And then what's that slow one that he does?
I don't know.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna Google it real quick because I I don't really like it. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like those upbeat. It's good. It's
Then why are you so obsessed with it? Let's just move on.
I know, but I really want to tell you, Casey Sunshine Band, slow song. It is please. It's called "Please Don't Go." Please don't go, don't go away, baby.
Yeah,
Actually, I do like it. I do like it. What am I saying?
Now that I think about it, I do.
I do like it. And then there's the other one. Keep it coming, love. Keep it coming, love. And then and then I love this one. It's called Get Down Tonight. Do you remember Get Down Tonight? Make a little love.
Get down
tonight. Get down tonight, baby. Get down. So at the end of the concert, my son and I were singing it.
Is that the whole story?
Oh yeah, can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear that. Oh,
I can't hear the song.
Oh, you can't really hear that. Get down tonight, do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. It was so fun. And then he did like he also did a medley of like disco songs in the middle of it. But man, it was a fun concert, and it just made me think of like you know, I remember Chuck Berry would kind of cut corners you'd hear and just show up by himself with his guitar and whatever the band was there, and he'd keep the 10 grand for himself or whatever he was making. But I see that Casey, I thought that was kind of cool.
It's funny. It's like, it's that whole thing with entertainment where there are people who are at like the top of the game who seem to give the least of a crap about stuff sometimes. Yeah. And then there's a guy like Casey and the Sunshine Band. Casey and the Sunshine Band, he has to support the whole band, He's probably just making it up from gig to gig to keep doing that. Yeah. So, and he's working and hustling as hard as he can. Meanwhile, I heard about like a concert that Van Morrison gave where he just kind of sat there and told stories, and he had another guy sing his songs. No. While he just sat on stage and was like, yeah, I wrote this next song, blah, 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 who cares, whatever, hit it. And then the guy would sing his song for him. Now, Willie Nelson has a guy who sounds very similar to him now that, like, tours around with him. But the two of them will sing, but basically that guy's job is hitting the notes that he just can't hit anymore.
And Ozzy does that as well, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, and it's like, that's fine, because, your vocal cords change, you can't help that. But people still want to hear those songs. It's like Aerosmith can't do that one song anymore, not really.
Loving an elevator.
No, the other one, the Dream On. Dream On! Where it goes way up into the high registers.
Oh, yeah. Dream. I do a pretty good Willie. Yeah, give me a song and I'll do a Willie for you. I'll look up the lyrics.
Who's Willie?
Willie Nelson.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
I'm like, how
Willie
dare
Tyler
you?
and Lester.
Yeah, give me any.
I was like, you probably shouldn't.
Give me any song and I'll do it in the style of Willie Nelson.
Any song?
Yeah, any song.
Rock and roll all night, party every day.
All right. Let me see.
I'm really throwing the gauntlet down on that one.
Here we go. You show everything. The rhythm of it goes, you show us everything you've got. You keep on. I don't know. Do I know the how's the melody? Let me just get to the hook.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson singing Rock and Roll All Night, sung by Kiss, but he's doing it. It's Willie Nelson. Maybe I could apply for that background guy. Here we go. And I'm going to do it slower. I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. There you go.
There you go. That's not bad.
You got another one?
Now, how about a legit one?
Yeah. Give me a legit.
Are you sure this is where you want to be?
It's called, I don't know that song.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's do it.
Give me one at least I know, because otherwise yeah.
How about Desperado, his version of Desperado?
Okay. Lyrics to Desperado. Oh, the Eagles, the Eagles version or whatever, that one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
He did it in the movie Desperado.
Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. Oh, you're a hard one, but I know that you've got your reasons. These things are pleasing you. Can hurt you somehow.
Hurt you somehow.
Yes, I don't really know that song. I guess I'm not going to get the job. Give me one more.
To all the girls I've loved.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. How about, okay, I'll do Rainbow Connection. Did you ever hear him sing Rainbow Connection with Kermit the Frog?
No, go do it. Hit it.
Kermit the Frog. So you know this. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other? Get the. So here's Willie. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. Ta-da.
There you go.
You
finally found one.
There you go, little buckaroo. That's the way, I like it.
He did a cover of The Scientist. You know that song?
Oh, yeah, I did hear that. That was so good.
It was really good, but it's like, I don't think the way I heard it was in a commercial, and that version is not really available anywhere. Like, he did another version of it.
Yeah.
But the really, really good one was used in a commercial, and I haven't heard it anywhere.
Oh, and you're trying to find it other places. You know,
yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, but I may have mentioned this on the podcast. You know, Kermit the Frog has oh, yeah, we did. We talked about last time you were on, but It's Not Easy Being Green.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't realize that Frank Sinatra had covered that.
Yeah, we talked about that the last time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know we talked about that. That was wild to me that he would cover that. Like, and just, like the first time I found out that Willie Nelson covered Rainbow Connection, I'm like, it's really good. If you ever look it up online, you'll see Willie Nelson like in a park, like probably like some public park or something, and he's got his little shoes on and his headband, and he's singing Rainbow Connection, and it's really, really cool. It's a cool thing. I ran into him once at the airport and got a photo with Willie. He was so nice. He was great. He was probably about 81 years old at that time.
Yeah. He's still kicking, still going.
You know, I talked to a promoter. He said that when he came to the Fox Theater in Bakersfield after the show, he would sit on his bus and sign every last autograph. People would come up to the bus and he would sign autographs for the folks. And he goes, it was like till 3 a.m.
Now, it's you know who's like that, or who was like that? Stan Lee.
Oh, wow.
He would, like, I remember before he was like a big household name or anything like that, he was still a really big name to comic book nerds and stuff. But they would do these shows at the Shrine Auditorium that were like mini Comic Cons sort of things. And he was the guest of honor one time, and they were like, you know, it's $5 to get in, but $15 if you want the ultra deluxe special badge to meet Stan Lee or whatever. And so he had a line of about 300 people that he was signing autographs for. And they were like, you know, anyone past those 300 people, we can't guarantee that he'll sign for. But so I told my buddy, I was like, let's go get in line and just see. Maybe, you know, we'll get lucky. And so they were like getting ready to close, and they were like, sorry, you guys, we're going to break it up. We're pretty sure he's not going to sign past the 300. And he gets on the microphone and he goes, yes, I am. I'll sign for everyone who's in line.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like when I got up to him, I was like, thanks for signing, because we were literally the last two. I was like, thanks for staying and signing for all of us. That was really nice of you. And he goes, I love it. I love doing this.
He's that's cool.
He's like, if I ever complain about meeting people that appreciate my work, then I'm retiring. He's like, that's when I'm done, you know.
Oh, that's so good.
He was really like pretty amazing about that sort of thing. And I always appreciate people that do that, like Springsteen or guys like that like, again, they're people that don't need it. They're at the top of their profession or whatever, and they're still really cool about stuff like that, you know.
Snoop Dogg seems like he'd be really cool about that, you know, from everything, you know. And I've met him a couple times. He was always really nice.
Yeah. I think he's one of those. I think a lot of those guys are nice, but they kind of have to have someone on staff that's a little mean.
Yep.
Just in case you're a jerk. you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you get too familiar, like, you know, like that guy that tackled Dave Chappelle. What the hell is that all about? You know,
right? You know, that's just insanity. But it's funny, like, you know, you live out here and you kind of get what celebrities go through and what they have to deal with and stuff like that. And then you talk to people in other towns and they're like, you know, I met Jeff Goldblum and he was a real jerk to me. Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened? Well, he was, I think he was coming out of the movies with his kids, and I jumped out of the bushes and I shoved a pen in his face, my autograph thing, and I was like, hey, we got to get a selfie, and he was a real jerk about it.
Yeah, I had 50 headshots right at the sign, and
yeah, you know, and it's like, that might be on you. That might not be.
Exactly. But,
you know.
Well, Mike, thanks again for coming on the Pocket Party this week and doing a part 2 with us. This is crazy. We tried visual part 1, audio only part 2. I like both versions. I enjoy both versions, and I enjoy having you on. And if you guys enjoy what you like, do us a favor and share the link and give it a review. Give it a 5-star review. Give it a 5-star review. And if you're on YouTube, you can click that thank you
give it any
button.
Old review.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're gonna give us 1 star, just don't even bother.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, just give it a 5. Come on, what are you doing? I don't think we've had any reviews on iTunes in a while. So if you can, please go to Apple and.
But yeah, any of those. And what really helps is leaving comments and stuff like that. If there's a specific thing that you enjoyed, talk about it. You know, that helps more than you can possibly know on a podcast.
Yeah. You guys have a great rest of your week, and Mike, you have a great rest of your week, and we'll chat soon. All right, guys. Don't hurt nobody.
Too,
don't hurt nobody. Be careful.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to The Pocket Party.